Bridgeport, for over a century the center of industry in Connecticut. But now industry is moving out, leaving behind a mixed community with economic and social problems. A continuing influx of Puerto Ricans has swelled the city's Spanish-speaking population. Bridgeport's larger black community is growing at the same accelerated rate. This, despite its appearance, is an inner-city school with all the characteristic problems. The mix of students at East Side Middle School reflects the inner city's racial and ethnic patterns. A quarter of the students are Spanish-speaking. Half are black. Teaching here is a demanding job with a continual challenge.
The first middle colony was Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania was founded by the Quakers and a man called William Penn, who came over here to escape the brutality of the people in England. He was fearful that his Quakers would not be able to practice their religion. So they came to Pennsylvania. Another name for the Quakers is the Brotherhood of Friends. They are still in existence today. One of the things they did not believe...
When social studies teacher Mike Dick finds himself losing the attention of his class, he usually knows why.
Well, when a teacher's lectures, it's just boring and there's nothing to it. I sit there and I try to keep listening, but eventually you just get bored and tired.
You're just sitting there and he's talking, then everybody gets bored, then you start chewing gum, then you get hollered at and everything.
I hate to listen to teachers talk all the time. Get me bored. Even get me sleepy, too.
When I start lecturing, they shut off. I don't know what they think about. They can think about anything from basketball to girls, or in the case of a girl, from basketball to guys, but it just turns them right off at this age, I think, when you start talking too much. But this is another reason why I use the audiovisual materials. They get a chance to talk.
Americans had one problem: how to get from New York to San Francisco. What was one of the methods they used to get there? Dennis? Covered wagon. Covered wagon across land this way. Another method was how, Eva?
From New York down around South America back to San Francisco.
All right, down around South America, up again, and back to San Francisco. And now, the problem of going by ship, as these two gentlemen here show you, it's long and it's hard. All right? Now here is the narrow isthmus where a canal could be built. Jose, how many possible routes are there?
There are 4 different routes.
Would you please come up here and show them to us?
There are 4 different routes. Colombia route, Panama route, Nicaragua route, and Mexico route.
Dan Shamus is media director at East Side.
Dan, here's those transparencies you let me use on the Panama Canal. How'd they work out? They worked out fine. The kids really liked them. They were on the edge of their seats. Utterly gripping, says the New York Times. Oh, Dan, I'm going into that World War II unit now, and I'll be needing the stuff we planned on.
Okay. That Hitler stuff ought to shake up your kids.
Thanks a lot, Dan. We'll see you.
Most of the good teachers I see frequently. They come for help, they come for material, they come for advice. However, there's still a lot of missionary work to be done to bring about more effective use of media, both in the classroom and here in the media center.
See, I try to encourage the teachers to use a multi-sensory approach to learning. If we can involve sight, sound, touch, smell, the more senses that you involve, that you get that learner involved in, I think the more excited he's going to be, the more motivated he's going to be, and the more lasting the learning is going to be. Look around here now. What do you find? Here's a girl doing independent study, working on a math unit, the metric system. Over here we have a boy looking at a film strip on raising insects, which he's doing for personal interest. Another student is looking at a film strip and listening to a record on Southeast Asia.
Born to slavery on a Virginia plantation, Washington recalled his early life as miserable and discouraging.
Should we put this in that he was born a slave and that when he got older he became a teacher and he taught over 80 students?
Here's a group with a film strip on Booker T. Washington.
He built the school for blacks only? Yeah, sure, I think that's important.
While this other group is preparing to debate them, upholding W.E. Du Bois. We'll videotape this debate and play it back for other classes to see.
W.E.B. Du Bois thought that Booker T. Washington was an Uncle Tom. In other words, he thought that Booker T. Washington wanted to please the white people. Booker T. Washington wasn't really an Uncle Tom. He just acted like they're in disguise to get the white people to like him and to get money to build Tuskegee Institute. Well, besides that, Du Bois was very radical and couldn't get the support of white people.
Maybe he was radical, but he had support because he was one of the founders of the NAACP, which is still an organization, and it's not radical.
Her manpower to design and handle her new technology. China is racing against nature and time. She must control one or overtake the other. She is trying both.
From the movie that we've just seen, a great deal of information was covered on China's education. Who can tell me some of the important facts about China's education? John?
They go to school 6 days.
Why 6 days?
At Eastside Middle School, many teachers work as partners. Mr. James Hodge is in a team with me. My name is Miss Mary Walker. And in this situation, we began a unit on China. To do this, Mr. Hodge began using a film.
All right, he mentioned math. And during the film we saw, some of the children were working on a small counter, it looked like. What was that called? Anyone remember? Judy? Who can tell me something about the abacus?
As students came into my classroom, we continued this unit on China, and we began to make an abacus, which is the Chinese counting machine. Class, most of you are doing a fine job on this, but some of you are putting the straws in the wrong places. The red should be the farthest to the right in the ones column, followed by the green in the tens column, blue in the hundreds column, and yellow in the thousands column. Make sure you put them in the right places. The students, after they made their own abacus, began to learn math through place value and adding and subtracting, using their own abacus to show what place value was and how to add and to subtract. I'd like to see how you'd show 122 on the abacus, Renee.
Take one from the hundreds column, and 2 from the tens column, and 2 from the ones column.
Now, how would you add 12 to it, Kay?
Take 1 from the tens column, and 2 from the ones column.
I try to bring the library into the classroom.
Lynn Levine, librarian.
To have the idea that the librarian is not just in one room in the building, that she moves around and she can be part of their whole school program.
And we picked, and it was hot. Oh my, it was hot.
I looked up with the water running off my face, and I saw a dog lying under a bush going.
The kids love to hear themselves, so we record and play back some of these sessions, and we find that this really helps motivate their reading.
So we picked, and we picked, and we picked, and we picked. Oh my, it was hot.
A good teacher